Hi, I'm Giulia Fiorista. I'm an Italian artist and designer based in Glasgow, Scotland. I'm going to read an article I wrote about my project Let's Eat, and I hope you enjoy it. Ettore and me. I consider myself a very colorful person, or rather, other people do. It's something that feels natural to me. I'm usually very self conscious wearing black, less wearing white, I have to say. Especially true if the white is denim trousers with big 70s flares. I keep telling everyone that I do it to compensate for the bleak Scottish weather, to brighten things up in the usual greyness of Glasgow. But I know this is only another comfortable excuse. I have always been very at ease with colours. Even when the sun was out 253 days a year in Sicily, the average number of days of sunshine in my hometown, I used to wear gaudy teenager looks, running around with my bright blue Vespa, while leaving a rainbow behind me. Ettore Sozzas was also a very good color matcher. I read his autobiography Scritto di notte, written at night, for the first time in 2011, when he had already been dead for 4 years. I was 20, studying as fast as I could to finish my last year of my product design degree in Milan. I picked his name randomly from the long reading list. I would read him late at night while eating yogurt and dry fruit to stay awake and study a little bit more. Since I kind of met him at the time, the color I was drawing, painting, or putting together from my wardrobe assumed totally new meanings and possibilities. At the end of the year, I wrote an essay about his book compared to another designer's autobiography, Enzo Mari's 25 Ways to Drive a Nail. Enzo was a modernist. He wasn't from a rich family, but still, he had always had a clear idea of who he was going to be. Pretty enviable indeed. Instead, Ettore was a postmodernist, writing about his life as a sequence of overlapping memories. Signora Fortuna, Mrs. Luck, would at times hold his hand, eventually making sense of all these events and bringing them together into one whole storyline, Ettore's own work of life. These contrasting outlook on life are clear in the work of both designers. Enzo's rationalist and functional designs versus Ettore's expressive and provocative approach. His quirky objects and extravagant color pattern combinations were a controversial, rather interesting way of expressing fundamentally one feeling: sorrow. Sorrow for the war, he just thought, the Second World War, and the final dissolution of all the positivism that his rationalist heroes brought to architecture and in the rest of the art and philosophy. I had never thought colors could represent something other than joy. I had never thought of colors as ironic, a tool to dazzle, and to use to move on from the past. Ettore wasn't the first to do that in history, but still he was the first who taught me that it was possible. 2 years ago, on the 14th of September 2017, what would have been Ettore Sozza's 100th birthday, it was a sunny weekend in London, my home at the time. I was sitting on my bed flicking through my Instagram feed when I suddenly realized that I was missing Ettore's birthday celebration at La Triennale di Milano. There is a Planet was a huge solo exhibition dedicated to his life's work. Everybody was there, my old classmates from my time at University in Milan, even the tutors were all going, one after the other, over that weekend. And I was stuck in my bedroom in the wrong city. I then remembered that I took Scritto di notte with me after my last summer holidays at my family home. I couldn't have imagined a better way to spend Ettore's birthday. Me and the book, this time no yogurt and dry fruit, but maybe some gin. A few times Mrs. Luck brought Ettore to what he calls a state zero, a state of denied comforts and minimal needs, but also full of opportunities for enrichment and growth. A time to start from scratch, to use life as it's the first time. He had felt that excitement when he moved to the USA, living in a scruffy hotel in Broadway, New York City. In fact, moving city often gives the rare opportunity to start from zero. 2 years ago, on the 14th of September, I had just moved to London myself. There, in my bedroom with my temporary cat Kingston, I was in the middle of a state of zero. one that brought me to rethink of Ettore 7 years after we kind of met for the first time, in a place that wasn't mine, with a cat that wasn't mine, living a life in hip East London that was barely mine too. I started reading Ettore's memories of sweet food, jams, and juicy apricots in jars, and suddenly I found myself drawing all about it. Popizza was the first of his girlfriends I drew. She used to cook pasta with breadcrumbs and sugar for him. They met because of the war, in a town in the Alps, near the battle station where Ettore was assigned as a soldier. They would meet at night in a bar and then go back to hers, or he would slip through the cabbage garden and surprise Bobizza in her room. She was older than him. At the time, he was just a skinny tall boy with eyes already full of melancholy. They learned to need each other for company and food, and until Ettore left her to continue his life, which was always going to be far away from there. I could see Bobizza in the dark of a bar made of wood, smoking, smiling, maybe crying all at once. I tried to capture this image of her, black, thick hair and smoky eyes in a dark interior. I drew this in pencil colors, two, three, 6 times I think, and then converted it digitally. It was my first drawing on a graphic tablet since I was studying, 7 years before. I felt so close to her by then, so jealous and so sorry for her all at once. I felt similar things for all the other girlfriends who came after. I began to draw them one after the other. Lina lying on a rock while watching the sunset through the fog in Trentino, Barbara while having fish soup on a boat drifting in the river Chao Phraya in Thailand, Fernanda who used to read out loud and played the piano at her family home in Turin, and Jeka making beautiful rugs and pillows in her tiny wooden house in Montenegro. The book was not yet finished when a gentle Mrs. Luck held my hand this time, returning me to Glasgow. Once back in my second homeland, Scotland, a chance text message to my friend and design curator, Stacey Hunter, presented an opportunity to turn the 5 portraits made so far into a special product. For some time, I had wanted to explore working with fabrics, and this was the perfect occasion. Glossy silk scarves seemed the most fitting way, showing fleeting glimpses of Ettore's multicolored lovers, which I called lezzite, Sicilian for the girlfriends. Meanwhile, I continued reading the book and folding the corners of the pages. Bottom corners fold whenever I encountered a new lover, top corners fold if there was a paragraph I enjoyed. I kept drawing new girlfriends as I was reading, taking over a year to finish the book through this process. I would also keep unfolding old marks I had made while reading 7 years before, unless I found the pages still somewhat relevant, like the time Ettore writes about the colors black, in a word exclusive in English, here for you. Once in Tokyo, I asked my dear and wise friend Shiro Kuramata if he knew of any shops where I could buy some Japanese ink, the type people use to do calligraphy, and he gave me an address. It was a very small old shop with the walls completely covered by little wooden drawers, darkened by age. The man at the counter was also very old, smiling at me. I said in my bad English that I wanted to buy some black ink. A long pause of silence came from the old man. "What type of ink?" was his answer eventually. I felt like such a fool. Once in Tokyo, I asked my dear and wise friend Shiro Kuramata if he knew of any shops where I could buy some Japanese ink, the type people use to do calligraphy, and he gave me an address. It was a very small old shop with the walls completely covered by little wooden drawers, darkened by age. The man at the counter was also very old, smiling at me. I said in my bad English that I wanted to buy some black ink. A long pause of silence came from the old man. "What type of black?" was his answer eventually. I felt like such a fool. How could I be so ignorant? How could I have been learning so little from all my masters? From the books I read, from all the exhibitions I saw, from all the friends I talked to, from all the places I visited, to think that there was only one black. The old Japanese man gathered in one straight question everything my teachers explained to me with long conversations full of words. Words that I kind of understood but not really, not enough. The question from the smiling elderly face of the Japanese man who lived in a world of thousands of types of blacks left no space. There is no black, only countless blacks. What black are we talking about? Do we want to talk about the colors black? Qualche anno dopo quel viaggio notturno durante il quale il mio primitivo pensiero si era molto nutrito, ero a Tokyo e un giorno avevo deciso di comprarmi uno di quei mattoncini per fare l'inchiostro nero, quello che noi chiamiamo dichina, che i calligrafi e anche i pittori giapponesi usavano e usano e con il quale lavorano. Ho chiesto al molto amato e molto sapiente amico Shiro Kuramata se aveva l'indirizzo di un negozio dove comprare il mattoncino e lui me lo ha dato. Era un negozietto piccolo, antico, con le pareti coperte da innumerevoli cassettini di legno, scuro di vecchiaia. Il signore al banco era anche lui molto antico, sorridente. Gli ho detto, nel mio impossibile inglese, che avrei voluto comprare un mattoncino nero. Lungo silenzio del signore molto antico. Che nero? È stata la sua risposta. Mi sono sentito un verme. Potevo essere così ignorante, potevo avere imparato così poco da tutti i miei maestri, da tutti i libri che avevo letto, da tutte le mostre che avevo visto, da tutti gli amici con i quali avevo parlato, da tutti i luoghi dove ero stato, da pensare che esistesse un solo nero. Quel vecchio signore giapponese sorridente aveva concentrato in una domanda secca tutto quello che i maestri mi avevano spiegato con moltissime parole e che io avevo un po' capito ma non abbastanza. La domanda di quel sorridente antico signore giapponese che viveva in mezzo a innumerevoli neri non lasciava spazio. Non c'è il nero. Esistono innumerevoli neri. Di quale nero parliamo? Vogliamo parlare del nero? As a matter of fact, my own art teacher in high school would tell us that to draw the color black properly, we would need to add all the colors of the spectrum on top of each other, layering them until they reached the desired tone. Although I carried out the task, at the time also I didn't really understand the fact there is no black. Today, I'm still not completely ready to embrace wearing black, but whenever I go back to Ettore, he always helps me understand a little bit more.